Hey guys, I want to tell you, if you go to iankellogg.com during the month of April 2016, you can take 10% off your entire order using coupon code JohnsArcade4. That's right, John's Arcade, the number 4. And yes, Ian Kellogg has the John's Arcade branded parts kits. That's right, cap kits, power supply rebuilds, you name it. He's got everything you need and really high quality stuff. So go to iankellogg.com, coupon code JohnsArcade4, 10% off your entire order. And guys, this is an awesome way to support the channel, so definitely take advantage of this. All right, guys, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, you know what? We are going back to the garage, guys. Yes, spring is in the air, and I'm very excited because this right here is part number 4 of the Atari Quantum Restoration, guys. Yes, we're gonna go back and start working in the garage. And yeah, this is the first time we're doing this year, and I'm very jazzed. So anyway, let's kind of review, because in part number 3 of the Quantum Restore, which we did like last fall, okay, we kind of left off by stripping the cabinet. We removed all of the artwork and the black paint because, yes, somebody painted this Quantum black, okay, and we undid all of that, and now we kind of have a blank canvas. And what I want to do today is go in the garage and start addressing the corners, because especially the back left corner is completely blown out. The particle board is all crumbly, and it's falling apart, and we just can't have it like that, especially if we're gonna put awesome and amazing brand new side art on this thing. So anyway, in this video, we're gonna address the corners with Bondo. We're gonna build them back up and shape them to their original shape. And then also on the back, there's like this kick plate thing where the power switch is. We gotta reapply that because that has been removed at some point. I have no idea what happened, but we have to put that back on. So anyway, guys, it's time to go to the garage, and again, I'm super jazzed. So enough of that. Why don't we just go out to the garage and let's get to work. All right, guys, we are back in the garage. Yes, it is springtime. Spring is here. It's actually in the 70s today. It is super awesome out, and I'm very excited. Very excited to be back in the garage and working on the Quantum. So I pulled the game out because we had it kind of in storage for the winter, and here it is. And if you guys remember in the previous videos, when we got this cabinet, it was converted to a double dragon, okay? It was painted black. The control panel was destroyed. They added joysticks. It had a JAMA harness inside of it, of course a double dragon marquee, and it also had a raster monitor, which of course is incorrect because Quantum is an awesome Atari XY color vector game. Anyway, I pulled the game out, I cleaned it up, and we're pretty much ready to start working on the cabinet. I also kind of started organizing all the parts. Yeah, it's a mess over here, but this is all the guts and stuff. You know, we're gonna have to address this thing here, which is the coin bucket and the service switch and all that. The coin door's off. All the metal parts have been stripped, and right now we basically have a naked cabinet, okay? And the plan is this, okay? So right now I want to start squaring up all of the edges, and we actually have a bunch of damage on this cabinet. Some of it I kind of did, just like right here, there's a little pock mark trying to get the rivets off of the speaker grill, so we're going to have to fix that with some Bondo. But the biggest thing really is the bottom edges here, and especially this back corner. It's completely blown out. And I've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth as to how to handle this, okay? And so I thought about, you know, cutting this off, this corner, okay, and then getting some MDF and making a new corner using a biscuit joiner, because I actually picked up a biscuit joiner last year, which is this guy right here, but I never actually have used it. And so I thought about doing it this way with the biscuit joiner, and I'm like, I don't know. So I started really looking at the corner here, and actually let's lay the cabinet on its front here, and I'm gonna do this very carefully, and I'll show you guys what's kind of going on with the corner here. And it's the first thing I want to do with this cabinet, so I'm gonna just kind of gingerly lay this on its front here. And I gotta be careful because we have the kind of edges for the control panel that pop out. But if we come back here and take a look, you can see that this is completely blown out, okay? And so I've been going back and forth again as to how to handle this, because I did think about just cutting this off right here and then getting a new piece of wood and joining it to this with a biscuit, which is like a little wood football, okay, that you can use to kind of join wood edge to edge. And I'll show you guys what I mean. And and I've never done this before, but I picked up the machine, the tool last year. But this is a biscuit right here. And the idea is that we would cut this, take the biscuit joiner, which basically is just a little saw that puts a groove here on the edge. And then you glue this in there. And then on the piece that you attach it to, you also have a groove, and it goes inside here. And so the glue and this and is what basically makes the joint. So, however, I've been looking at this and looking at it and wondering. I actually even went to the Home Depot today and got a piece of wood and actually drew this edge here, which is a copy of that corner, okay? So I thought we could cut this out and then attach it here with the biscuit joiner. But again, I'm looking at this, and I have to admit, it scares me a little bit, okay? Because I'm not sure if I can pull it off very easily, because we'd have to get in here with my circular saw and really cut a straight edge that's even with this. And again, I started looking at it, and I kind of started visualizing how we would do the Bondo, and it actually doesn't really seem that bad, because if we come in here with some plexi like this, that's not really a lot to build up, actually. So I think we're going to try the Bondo. And if this fails, so what? We can still do the biscuit thing, but I really think that this is going to work. Because I want to screw this to here, okay, and then just fill this in with Bondo, and I think we can totally build this back up, and I think it'll be actually structurally pretty strong, because we have the outside wood that's mostly here, and then we'll shape this all with my sander. And then also here, the particle board is starting to split. I think we'll glue this, we'll throw some glue in here, and then clamp it overnight. And I'm wondering if I should do this now or after. We probably should do that first, actually. So why don't we do that first? Let me get my clamps and some glue. And I think that we should clamp this down so that this is nice and flush, because it kind of split here. See that? And so we should clamp that down, and that way when we put the Bondo on there, that area is not going to screw it up. And then this 1x1 here is stapled to the side. There, look at that, it already tightened it up a little bit. I hate particle board, man. So, all right, let me get some clamps and some glue, and I want to start here by clamping and gluing that, and we'll probably just have that attached while we're doing our Bondo work. Okay, I went and got my glue and some cheapo clamps, and basically I'm just going to throw some glue in here and let it seep in, and this glue really does dry super hard, so try not to be too messy when you're doing this. And I'm not really worried about the T-molding groove right now, because we're going to recut it. We're going to have to anyway after we do the Bondo work down here. So I'm just going to try to get this glue to go down inside of here. That looks pretty good. And then we'll just take some clamps and clamp it down, and then just let this dry for about a half hour. At least that's what it says on the bottle. So let's just clamp this, like so. All right, so I'm gonna just let that, I'm gonna wipe off the excess here, because like I said, this stuff, when it dries, it is like cement, and it doesn't sand easily at all. So I'm just gonna wipe off the stuff that's dripping here. And we'll let it go for, like I said, for about a half hour, and we'll come back and see how it's looking. So I'm just gonna let that dry, and we'll come back. All right, I'm back. We're going to actually let this dry, and I want to move on to something else while we're waiting. And also, I added some more glue and a clamp right here, because this piece right here was also split. Now, this right here goes like this, okay? And you can see that it was stapled and glued, okay, to this, okay? So they glued it to here, and then also they glued it to this 1x1. Now, on this side, the 1x1 is missing, so we're going to have to recreate this, and I'll cut down a 1x1, and we'll staple it to here. And then we'll also glue and staple. But I do want to get rid of the old staples that are in here. You see this? So we're going to bend these back. I think I'm just going to snip them off and then hammer them down. And you can see it was stapled from the outside. Now this piece is in okay shape. I guess we can reuse it. It does have the original switch here and the cut for the cord. So it's kind of proprietary, so I think we'll just reuse this piece and not make a new one. And then like I said, it's going to glue in right here. Okay, so what I want to do though is I want to take some side cutters, and I want to snip off the old staples and then pound them in. And we'll kind of prep this for when we want to reattach it. And so I'm going to have to bend these back. They're all like smashed, and I'll just do the first couple with you, and then do the rest by myself. But I'm just going to take side cutters and just cut those back. I got to get some pliers here and bend them straight. Hang on. All right, so I'm just taking some needle nose pliers here, and I'm just bending the staples up so we can easily cut them as flush as possible. I mean, I don't really see any other way to do this because I don't think we can get these out. So we're just going to have to leave the remnants of them inside. And then when we re-staple it, we're just going to have to avoid the ones that are already there. But cosmetically, you'll never know that we did this. So I'm just kind of bending them straight up, and then I'm coming in with some side cutters. And I'm looking away here. I don't want them to fly into my face. And then we got some more here. It's kind of stubborn. I'm just bending them up so I can grab them with the side cutters. I'm looking away. If you don't want to look away, go get some safety goggles. Because I'm sure those will ruin your day if they go in your eye. Some serious staples. I went to Home Depot and I got 1-inch 18 gauge staples for my pneumatic stapler. So, because this wood is about 3/4 inch. And I think these were 1 inch in here. Anyway, these ones are all flush, and then what I'm going to do is just take my hammer and just kind of pound them in so they don't interfere when we go to remount this. So let's just take our hammer on the ground, like so, and just kind of hammer them flush. Not perfect, but it'll definitely mount more flush now, and we can glue it and then staple it. So I'm going to keep going and do that to the rest of these, and we'll come back. All right, guys, it's been actually like 45 minutes, and I was just kind of testing this, and the glue's not really fully dry. So we're just going to leave the clamps on. Now, let me show you what I did. I took a piece of scrap plexi, okay, and I kind of made a form, okay? And all I did was I drilled a hole through the plexi and then just threw a screw in here to really hold it on, and then just threw some tape on the back here. And so what we're going to do now is we're just going to fill in the gap with Bondo, okay? So this gap that's right here, we're just going to fill it in. And I kind of came in, I didn't really want to go nuts here sanding this smooth, just because I need to have as much as possible here because I can kind of see what the shape is supposed to be. Like here's a high point right here, and it just kind of goes like that. So I don't want to remove so much, but I did want to kind of make sure there's no loose particle board because I don't know if the Bondo will really stick to that well. And it seems like nothing's really coming off here. There's a little bit of looseness in here, and hopefully the Bondo will just kind of hold this all together here. But so what I'm going to go ahead here do is mix some Bondo, okay? And I went to Walmart and I got it. It's like $5 there. It's so cheap. And yes, this is automotive body filler. And I know a lot of guys always ask me, why do you use that? How come you don't use wood filler? Well, because this stuff's just a dream to work with. It's easy to sand and shape. And it just does a fantastic job here. Now, it's a 2-part mix. You have to mix a hardener with the base here. This is the base. It's gray. And when we mix it, we want it kind of a nice salmon color, kind of like the Bondo spreader right there. And so this is the hardener. So let's put this to the side. And so I'm going to go ahead and just mix some in this little lid. And I want to do this in several layers because we are kind of filling a somewhat large area. And you're better off doing 2 or 3 lighter applications. Now, I'm already pouring a ton here, but whatever. So there's that. And then I'm going to come in with our hardener. And let's add it to this. And it doesn't take much, and you guys always tell me I use too much. So like that. I think you're supposed to use a pea size with a golf ball amount of Bondo. So let's go ahead and mix this up, and we want a nice uniform color. I usually do this on a paper plate, which is easier, but I can't seem to find my paper plates. This is the actual lid that comes with the Bondo can. I actually had a spare lid that I never used. This stuff's super messy, and cleaning up is a pain in the butt. I really hate this stuff, but it really does work. All right, that's pretty decent there. Okay, and you got to kind of work fast because this stuff is going to set in like 10-15 minutes. And so basically I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start filling this in. And my goal right now is not to do all of it. I just want to get it started. And it's a very messy process, and I wouldn't freak out if it's really messy initially, because you can sand your way out of everything with this stuff. That's what's so great about it. So you can be pretty sloppy with it, and I usually am. And then you could just sand it all away and get the shape you want. So I'm just coming in here and I'm just trying to fill in the space between the plexi and the cabinet. And again, it's messy. But once we're done here, we're going to sand this all down and get the shape that we need. I'm just kind of shoving it in here. All right, I'm going to call this application 1, and we're going to let it dry for about 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and do application 2. And yes, I know, it's ugly, right? Don't worry. All right, I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll come right back. You guys want to take a look at the work here? So you can see it's pretty ugly. But we're just kind of building it up, and then we're going to sand it all smooth. And when we're done, it'll look perfect. So, all right, I'm going to let it dry, and we'll come back and do another application after. All right, guys, it's been about a half hour. I came back here. I just mixed some more Bondo, and I'm going to go ahead and just fill this in a little bit more. And we might have to do a third application. I'm just trying to build it up and build it up and build it up to the shape I want. And we really want it to be, we want to have more here than we need, because we're going to sand it down, and I'm going to use the little cheese grater to give it the shape we want. So let's just kind of come in here. Just keep filling this in. And again, I'm not worried at all how this looks, because I know that we're going to be removing all of this with the cheese grater, all the excess that we don't need, and the sanding, and really give it the shape that we're looking for. I'm probably going to let this dry overnight before we sand it, which means the video is going to be late. Whoops. You know, I was going to work on this over the weekend, and it just didn't happen. It's Monday here. And yeah, I know, this is ugly. Kind of fill this in. All right, it's starting to take shape here. You know, try not to make the worst mess possible. But again, I'm never really concerned how it looks, because once you start sanding it, you get the shape that you want. I really should put some plexi on this side. I'm thinking about it. Anyway, that's our second application. We're going to let that dry. And yeah, it's ugly. And then I'll come back and put one more on. All right, guys, the second application here has dried, and it's looking pretty good, actually. I'm just kind of comparing it to the corner over on the other side. And it looks like I really need to build it up here even further and higher, because we're going to come over and then down and then flat there. So I just got to really make sure we have enough to play with. And I'm going to try to put really more than I need on here. But I can really see that this is going to work once we start sanding. As long as I have enough to play with, we can get the shape we want. I'm a little worried that the plexi is leaning. It's not completely 90 degrees up. I think it'll be okay though. So I'm just really trying to build this up, and I want to make sure I have enough to play with, to sand, and to cheese grate. Alright, so we're going to call this our third application. I'm going to let it dry, and then we'll come back and assess the situation. Okay guys, it's been about 45 minutes or so since the last Bondo application, and I think we're ready to sand it and shape it. So I want to pull the plexi off, and hopefully this comes off relatively easily. If not, I might have to get a blade and just kind of cut it away from the Bondo. But I think we have plenty of material here, plenty of Bondo to work with to get our shape. I was going to let it dry overnight, and I decided not to. I was reading the can, actually, and it said to sand it. You could sand it within... Okay, so we got a lot there, but it said you could sand it within 30 to 40 minutes. Actually, 20 to 30 minutes, I think it said. Okay, so, all right, what's going on here? So we got a big mess on our hands. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a cheese grater. This is what they call it. This is actually for Bondo. To really knock the big chunks down. And we could take those off. This is totally dried now. And I'm just going to come in here and just really knock this down and try to get it like flush with this edge here. I'm just going to work it down. I think that if you wait too long, it gets really harder to work with. So I think we're better off doing this now than maybe waiting till tomorrow. Yeah, I'm just trying to get this edge here flush with this edge. And we got a ways to go. This cheese grater thing, I guess there's a holder, like a handle for it, but I find it just fine just to hold it like so. So I'm just going to keep working this here until, again, we get this completely flush with this. And this edge here is going to go like this. Looks like we might need a little bit more. We got a lot on the sides here. Just knocking these big chunks off. Yeah, this cheese grater really does do a good job. Just knocking these really ridiculously big chunks off. So the bottom edge here, I need to be flush with the bottom of the cabinet. I'm wondering if we're gonna need, this goes up to about here. We might need to fill this in some more. I'm not confident that we have enough material here. The nice thing is that this is gonna be all covered with T-molding, so we don't have to be 1000% awesome, and it is at the back of the cabinet. All right, I'm going to keep going with this thing and just try to get this as try to get as good a shape as I can. But you can kind of see it's looking pretty okay. I do think we're going to need a little bit more material, so I'm going to keep sanding it with this and just keep shaping and shaping. Okay, guys, I've been shaping it. It looks pretty good. I do realize I definitely I need more Bondo. We need more. Because we got to fill in this chunk down here, and in here, and right in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of plexi on this side, I think. First, I'm going to sand it a little bit. I'm going to use some 180 grit on my palm sander, but all of this I did with that cheese grater, and that thing's pretty great. And you can buy that on Amazon, by the way. It's like 10 bucks. We're not plugged in. Hang on. So let me plug this in, and then we're going to just, I'm going to shape it up a little bit with the 180. You're supposed to go like 80, then 180, but let's try the finer stuff first. All right, I'm kind of looking at it. It looks pretty good, really. I've got too much on this side here. I got to probably get the 80 out and really get this Bondo off of here because this is not very smooth. And when we put our artwork on here, we're going to see all of that. So I'm going to knock all this down. And then after we do this, I'm going to screw another piece of plexi on this side. And then we're going to fill all of this in here and just really build this up. But I think once we put the T-molding on and paint all this and put the artwork on, you'll never know that we did this repair. And it seems very strong, by the way. If you remember, that was just a crumbly mess of particle board. So let me get the 80 grit, and we'll hit this side with 80 and really knock that down. All right, guys, I have 80 grit on here. And yeah, it's dusty. I got the garage open. I'm like a foot away from it. Wear a mask. It's looking pretty good. I really want to get rid of all this Bondo in here because I don't need it in here. We just really need it on the edges only, so... All right, that actually looks really good, but we need more Bondo. We got to fill in all of this down here and all of this. So I'm going to get a piece of plexi, and we'll just fill in these missing parts here. But this is really a good shape. It pretty much mimics the other side. And I think, again, once we put the T-molding on and the artwork, you'll never even know that we did this. I really think it's going to work out great. And it's very, very strong, by the way. This is not breaking very easily. Knock on wood. So, all right, let me cut a piece of plexi down, and we'll put it on this side and fill it in. Okay, I just cut a piece of plexi down. I actually went to Home Depot today and bought some, just a piece of plexi. I don't know, it was like 2x2. It was like $10, and I've been cutting it with just a plastic cutter, and I'm not very good. but at least this piece is usable here. So what I want to do is just kind of put this over here so we can fill in here, and then fill in here, and then also fill in as much as we can right here. Eventually, though, we're going to have to do the whole bottom because I want to sharpen the edge here all the way across. But for now, I just want to worry about this corner. And we're going to have to do the bottom edge later. So what I'm going to do is just come in here with my drill and try not to go too crazy with the screws. Maybe a couple. And hopefully we don't crack our plexi, which always happens. Okay, there's one. Maybe we'll just do one more screw down here. See if I can get as much as possible here. And I know we're leaving a little hole in our cabinet that we're gonna have to fill in later. All right, that's good. Really should put one right here. That's good. I'm not going to go all the way in. Okay, so we got our plexi little shield or form on. I'm going to go ahead and mix up some Bondo, and then we'll fill it in. All right, guys, I mixed some more Bondo up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just fill in the missing pieces here. So we need some over here because there's like a gouge right here. And I'm just trying to use the plexi form as much as possible to create our edge. And then we got a whole bunch down here that's missing. You can really see that the shape of this corner just naturally wanted to be the shape it's in, just because of what wood we had, which is good. This is tricky here. Try not to make too much of a mess. I think I might have to do 2 applications on this side. Maybe not. That looks pretty good. Kind of shaping the corner here. We definitely have a little bit of a sunken area right here that we got to fill in right in there. Again, I'm not worried about how it looks. You saw how quickly that cleaned up. We got to fill in this right here. When we're done, I'm going to sand all this, make it look really smooth, and then we're going to spray paint all this black because this whole bottom corner was black back here. All right, so we got a part right here that really needs to be filled in. All right, so we're gonna let this dry, and then we'll come back and kind of assess the situation, but it's definitely taking shape, guys. Yeah, it looks ugly right now, but once we sand it and get it the shape we want, it's gonna look really good. So let's let that dry and we'll come back. Okay guys, it's actually the next day here, and our Bondo is obviously quite dry. Also, I did decide to throw some wood glue on this one edge here because it was a little swollen, this bottom corner. So I just threw some wood glue in here last night and then just clamped it overnight and just kind of helped a little bit. We're going to have to recut the T-molding grooves because we have glue in there now. But anyway, so let's look at our corner. I think it actually looks pretty good. We're going to have to shape it up now. I'm going to use the cheese grater, some 80 grit sandpaper, and then feather it with 180. And it's pretty ugly right now, but we totally have enough to work with here to get our shape. So I'm just going to go through here and just knock the big stuff down with the cheese grater, and then use my sander, 80 grit first, to just smooth this out and make this a nice transition. And then also use the sander to kind of round these little corners here, these transitions. But right now I got to knock down the bulk of it. So anyway, I'm going to keep going here with the sander, and let's see if we can make this thing look pretty.
So let's pretend we'll pretend that we got somewhere we need to be. We'll pretend that we're not running away from the there's no one, just you and I. We won't get where we're going if we don't try.
All right, guys, we're done. And honestly, I think this is a massive success here. So on the top here, it's got some pock marks, nothing I'm worried about. We're gonna cut a new T-molding groove here, and T-molding is gonna cover all this up. On the inside here, I really had a tough time sanding in this. And so we've got some little craters and stuff. We're gonna paint all of this black, and I really think it's just gonna disappear. I'm not really worried about it. And then on the outside here, I mean, which is what really matters, it really does look stellar. I think we did a fantastic job, and this is nice and smooth. I don't feel any kind of transition. We've got nice rounded corners here that I did with my palm sander. And basically what I did is I used the cheese grater to knock down the really thick stuff, okay? And then I came in with 180 to knock down the chunks even further, or what chunks that were left. And then I feathered it with 180 in here. And it's nice and solid. It feels very strong and structurally sound. So I think this is a good success here. And then what we're going to do is I want to put the back plate on here. And maybe we'll take the wheels off and we'll paint all of this black. I'm wondering if we do that now or later. Maybe we'll do it later because I'm going to want to rattle can all of the black, like the edges, because this was originally black in here. So we're gonna put the back door on and then probably rattle can all these edges and the bottom and stuff and the inside and the front. So all right, so what should we do now? I think I do want to, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get my leaf blower and blow all this garbage out of here. And you know what? I'm not gagging from the dust. the garage is pretty well ventilated, but I'm gonna get my leaf blower though and just let's clean up in here. And then we're gonna have to reapply a block on this side with glue and staples. And then I want to staple the piece of wood that goes on the back here. And then when we do the black spray paint, we'll paint that black as well. Where did that piece of wood go? So we have this little back. Where did I put that? Huh. All right, guys, we got it all cleaned up here. So anyway, here is the back panel, okay? And we'll paint this later after we put it on. But basically, it was on here. It was glued and stapled like so. And we just kind of find the spot. I think it actually... We got to put it in the right spot, too, because... I wonder if I should paint this black first. We'll be able to get in there. So we got to make sure we get it in the right spot so the back door will still fit on. So that looks like that might be the spot right there. Now we're missing the board on the left side, so we're going to have to make a new one. But here's the back door, and let's see if that fits. Actually, we should do this with the back door on, right? So if the back door is here, and it goes all the way out. There's a screw in here. Get rid of that. Okay. So if the back door is like that, that means that we want this like so. All right, so why don't I get a marker and we'll mark where that's supposed to be. Okay, so I think I have it in a pretty good position here. I don't want the back door to be super tight. I want there to be a little bit of play, just so we have a bit of a tolerance here. And so right about there, I think is good. So I was gonna come in here and draw a line, like so. And that's where we wanna be. Right there. Let's see how much play we have. So, I don't know, we got maybe 1/16 of an inch, which is fine. Just wonder if I should tighten it up just a little bit. Let's see. That looks pretty good. So right there. Come up just a hair. All right, so I'm going to mark that. So we need to put our board back in here, the piece of wood. There was like a 1x1 in here that this thing staples to. And so I had some, like, I don't know what this is, 1/2x1 stock. And so we're going to glue and staple it to the side just like they did on the right. Because you can see here, originally we had this piece of wood right here, but we're missing that piece on the left. So I cut this down. It's not the exact dimensions of the wood, but it's going to be just fine, I think. So we're going to use this 1/2x1, and I can pretty much see where it goes. Now I'm going to take this ruler to kind of mimic the door and make sure that this is flush with where it needs to be. And so what I'm going to do is get some glue and my pneumatic staple gun, and I'm using like 3/4 inch staples. All right, so let me grab my glue. And we're going to use a combination of glue and staples. So I'm just going to put some glue on here. Try not to go too crazy. And then again, I'm going to use the ruler as a guide. And I can see where it used to be, right here. Okay. And I'm using the ruler again to make it flush with where the door is going to be. And then I'm going to carefully come in here and staple this. Okay, so that's in. Now we need to glue and staple the door to this. And I'm going to use 1-inch staples for this. So let's take the 3/4 inch staples out, because our wood, hopefully my nail gun is powerful enough to do this, because the wood we're using here is just like 3/4 inch particle boards. We have to get through that and into this stuff here. All right, so why don't we put our glue on first? And then over here, this side doesn't have as much meat. I mean, I could kind of double this up. Yeah, we'll probably be okay. All right, so let's come in here. And I went too high with the glue. See that now. All right, I kind of created a problem for myself here. I went too high with the glue, so we can't really put the back door on right now to test it, can we? Whoops. So let's wipe this down, because we don't want to glue the back door to this. Okay. All right, so let's check make sure we're all lined up here. And I think we are. I think what I'll do is I'll throw a couple staples in, and then we'll just test it with the back door to make sure we're in a good position. So let's load up our nail gun here. I've never used 1-inch nails, so hopefully my nail gun can handle these. This is a pretty cheapo set I have. It's a very small compressor. It's like 100 PSI. I bought this kit at Ace Hardware, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it was not expensive, and I've actually gotten a lot of use out of it, so it was a great little kit. All right, so we're all lined up. Bam, bam. So let's come over here. All right, good. They do go through. Okay, so let me grab the back door. We'll just do a test before we go crazy on here. Let's make sure we're in a good spot. Oh, gotta get this thing in there. So, okay, that looks good. Okay, so right there. I'm gonna let my compressor fill up here. All right, compressor just turned off, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do this again. All right, so then in here, I'm just kind of going near the marks where Atari originally did it. Did one over here. Okay. And they did not throw any in here. Okay. So I would say we're done. We'll just throw one in here for good measure. Okay, I think it looks pretty good. Let's lift the cabinet up and just kind of take a look at what's going on. See if the door stays on. There's nothing really holding the door on. All right. Oh shit. Like I said, there's nothing holding the back door on. So let's make sure the back door fits on okay. And the answer is yes. So that was a total success. So it's pretty ugly back here, guys. We got a lot more to do. You know, do we want to cut a new back door? I don't know. You know, I usually don't lose sleep too much over the back of the cabinet. I kind of like these war wounds. It's odd, maybe. Should we fill this in with Bondo? I don't know. We're not going to do it today. Let's just kind of take a look here at our work. I should throw a screw through here so this thing doesn't come off. But we're going to paint that whole bottom. And really, that bottom corner was a massive success, guys. Just look at that. It looks really good. And once that artwork's on there and the T-molding, you'll never know that we did that. And we're still going to square up the edges. We actually have a lot of little pock marks and stuff like in here that we're going to have to Bondo. We're going to have to fill our holes because we drilled some screw holes down there. But in general, I think we got the hardest thing over with because that corner there is what I was really dreading. And I'd say we're done with that. Now, we do have another corner in the front here that's all chewed up. So we're going to have to address that. But just really, look at that back corner. That looks fantastic. It truly does. So we're going to have to address the front corner, which is this is going to be another tedious corner right here. And this is all blown out. And I think we're just going to Bondo it. And we'll just come in there make a form. But you know what? We're going to stop in this video right here. I know that we didn't cover a lot. Actually, we did a lot, to be honest, because that corner took me most of Monday, or half of Monday, and part of Tuesday night here. That was actually a lot of work to get that to look good. So we're going to stop here, and then we'll resume in the next video. We're going to finish up the cabinet, square everything up, get all the corners nice, fill all the holes, because really, we need this cabinet to be perfect before we put the side art on, okay? Because the artwork that goes on this cabinet is super special, guys. It's badass, okay? So when we put this artwork on here, this cabinet is going to go into the stratosphere of cool, okay? We're not there yet, but you can see that we're approaching. The landing gear is coming down. So, but yeah, once we get the artwork on here, this thing's going to sing. But I am not going to put the artwork on a shitty cabinet. I'm just not. So I want to make sure that we really address everything and we take our time. You know, it's spring, right? This is not a fall project. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no rush here, okay? And if that means one more week of doing Bondo work to do it right, then I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to rush through this project, okay? And it's tempting to just kind of cut corners and overlook things. But as far as the cosmetics of the cabinet, these three sides, the left, the right, and the front, it needs to be perfect. Now, on the back, I'll let stuff go on the back door. It doesn't bother me because it's like, oh, this is an original game, you know? I don't need to get it all perfect, you know, but from the front, you know, the facade of this needs to be flawless, especially if we're going to put brand new artwork on. Anyway, okay, enough of that. We're done. So, guys, that's it for this little video. I know it's late. It's maybe brief. I have actually no idea how long this video is. But again, it was a success. We still got some chewed up edges on the bottom there because we did not Bondo the entire thing. So I think in the next video we'll address all of the bottom edges, that front corner, and then just kind of go around and fill in all these little perfections like in here and here. So we'll do all that in the next video. But for now, we are getting somewhere. So anyway, all right, guys. Does it feel good to be back in the garage? I think so. All right, guys, let's go back down to the basement. All right, guys, there you have it. That was part number 4 of the Atari Quantum Restore. What do you guys think, huh? We are getting somewhere. Honestly, that back corner I was dreading. I really, really was. I was worried that we weren't going to pull it off, and I really think that we did. What do you guys think? Did I do okay? Did I do an okay job on that back corner? Anyway, we still have a lot to do. A lot more Bondo, smaller stuff. We got the big stuff out of the way right now. So in the next video, we're going to go back to the garage, and we'll start addressing the bottom edges and all that stuff. So Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it, and really, we're already making some pretty good progress. We have to rebuild the monitor, the K6100, because the 6100 monitor I had that we're going to put in there is currently dead, and we're going to rebuild it. Actually, Ian Kellogg sent me some rebuild kits for 6100, so we're going to be using these John's Arcade branded 6100 kits, and of course, again, if you go to iankellogg.com, you can get 10% off your order, your complete order at iankellogg.com if you use the coupon code John's Arcade 4. That's John's Arcade and the number 4. And that is through the end of April 2016, but it might work in the middle of May. I have to talk to Ian about it because I'm a little behind telling you guys about the code. So John's Arcade 4 at iankellogg.com, get 10% off. And then also, another thing I need to tell you guys about is BroFest, okay? Because we have the website up now. You guys can book, you can reserve, you can actually register if you go to arcadeevent.com for BroFest 2. Now, this is a tournament that we're doing at Fun Spot in Wares Beach, New Hampshire, okay? The world's largest arcade. It's going to be June 3rd and 4th, 2016. Just go to arcadeevent.com. All the details are there. You can register. You can order the t-shirt. You can also become a Cult of Clint member because we have to fly a referee out to referee the event, and that's Clint. And so if you go there, you can help support us and get him there by donating $20, and you'll get your name on the back of the shirt. And just so you guys know, if you're not attending the event, don't worry, you can still order the shirt. Go to arcadeevent.com. You can order the whole package. You get a shirt, a cup, stickers, and a little card autographed by all of us. So arcadeevent.com. All right, so I want to do some viewer mail. And if you guys want to participate in the viewer mail segment, you need to email them to me at blkdog7@gmail.com. That's blackdog7@gmail.com. In the subject line, please put viewer mail. Okay, the first one here is from Richard. Says, John, I just wanted to thank you. I love your channel. I'm a longtime fan, and I think you're such a sweet guy and incredible at what you do. Well, thanks, Rich. My dream is to one day own some pins and some vids, but I live in a condo in Toronto, and I just don't have the room. I want to let you know that me and the wife made your White Castle burger recipe, and they were fantastic. You know, I'm still getting emails about the White Castles, so I guess you guys really like those. They're fun and easy to make, right? I mean, anyone can make those. It's pretty simple, and they are good. He says there's no White Castles in Toronto, and I always wanted to try those little burgers. Thanks to you, we did. I love John's Kitchen. Do more of these, please. Maybe. We'll see. I'd love to meet you one day and give you a big hug, and thank you for your passion of all things arcade. You totally rock. And then he says, I can't wait for the EM pin restore vids. Thanks again, Rich, in Toronto. So, Rich, I'm glad you brought that up because I've had a lot of people asking me about the Bronco pinball. We have that electromechanical pinball in the garage. I'm not giving up on that. That is a summer project, and maybe after we're done with Quantum, we'll attack that. I'm actually really looking forward to working on that EM pinball machine because that's really different for me, and it'll be a really fun learning experience. So just rest assured, we're going to get to that project. All right, next one here from, and by the way, thanks, Rich, for the email. Next one is from Charles. Hey, John, I've been looking for some cabinets to restore and trying to figure out which games they belong in. I'm still learning the identification of cabinets. Could you please look at this photo and talk about which games came in this cabinet? I know the cabinet was not a RoboCop. Have a great day, Chuck. So Chuck sent me this photo, and he's wondering what this used to be, okay? Well, I know right away, Chuck. This is a Taito cabinet, okay? And it has a horizontal monitor, so what does that tell us? Well, it could be one of a few games. Well, the one game that it can be is Zookeeper. So you could restore that to a Zookeeper, okay, which is right here. So that's the same darn cabinet, horizontal monitor, Zookeeper. It could also be a Jungle Hunt or Jungle King, an elevator action. That's about it, really, I think. I'm trying to just think off the top of my head. I know there's definitely a few more games. It does have wood grain on the side. I'm assuming that's not original and the operator added that, but it's definitely a Taito cabinet, and it's this same cabinet right here, actually, which, again, Jungle Hunt and Jungle King, they all use that. And I think that would be a good cabinet to put an arcade SD in, by the way. I mean, I don't know if you really want to do that, but I heard Zookeeper And the Arcade SD isn't quite perfect, but that's a good candidate for it, though, especially if you're missing everything. So Chuck, that's a great cabinet to get. I would totally snag that if it's cheap, because that's the kind of stuff I look for right there. You know, something that's very, very classic, a nice iconic cabinet like that, and if it's like $100 or something, I would grab that in a heartbeat. Next one here is from Justin. It says, "Hey John, I finally did it. I got myself a physical cabinet. I'm in the finalizing stage now where I wait for an invoice and then book the shipping." Oh boy, I hope you didn't pay too much. What did you get, by the way? You didn't say. "What should I do to prepare for when the game comes off the truck and I move it into the house? I know it needs to be unwrapped and depalletized, but what would you do in the cab's resting place to prep it for its new member of the family? Warm regards, Justin." Okay, so you have a game coming. Has it been restored? Is it fixed? Now, me personally, I want to fix everything in the garage before I bring it down here. I don't like working on games down here, okay? Now, we had to do that for computer space just because of the weather, and it was really more of an electronic restoration and not necessarily a cabinet restoration. But really, if you need to do any work, maybe I would depalletize it, unwrap it in the garage if you have a garage, and really assess the situation. And if you need to fix anything before you bring it in the house, I would do that in the garage. I just think it's the way to do it. Working in the house sucks. It just does, and I hate it. And so I would make sure it's all perfect in the garage. And then as far as prepping where it's going to go in the house, well, I don't know. Do you have a lot of games down there? If it's just this one game, it sounds like it is. I don't know. What could you do? Well, you can get some carpet glides. Those are kind of nice. Do I have any down here? Actually, I do. Because when the whirlwind left, I'll show you these things. You know, if you're going to put this in your house and it's a carpeted area and you don't want to really trash the carpeting, these guys are actually really nice. You can get 4 of these like at Walmart or something. I actually use these sometimes for pinball on the back legs because it makes it really easy to drag the pinball machine out. And so you can put these at the bottom of your cabinet. It makes sliding the cabinet out of the hole or against the wall on the carpeting really easy. And then I would probably get some kind of a nice surge protector outlet wherever you're going to put the game. You know, inexpensive, kind of a safety net, like $10 or something at Walmart, $5. I would do that. But really, that's it. I mean, make sure everything's fixed and working in the garage, bring in the house, put it on these things if you want to protect your carpeting and also make it easy to get away from the wall. And then maybe get some kind of a surge protector. Like upstairs, I had the Miss Pac-Man MAME and the Centipede. I actually turned both those games on with the surge protector on the floor, because otherwise you got to go in the back of the game, find the switch. I find it really easy to, just kind of have the surge protector to the left of the game or the right on the bottom and just go down there and hit the switch. So that's what I would do, Justin. Justin, congratulations on your first physical cabinet, and I actually would love to know what you got. You didn't say here, so maybe send some photos. So anyway, guys, that's it. We're done. This video is late. We'll be catching back up this weekend, I'm assuming. I'm going to try to do another video this week, maybe on Wednesday or Thursday. We'll see what happens. So anyway, that's it. We're done. Subscribe if you've never subscribed. Like, comment, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And then also check out my 2 podcasts, Video Game Outsiders at videogameoutsiders.com and Arcade Outsiders at arcadeoutsiders.com. All right, guys, we're done. I'll see you very soon. Later, and bye.